guys, welcome to Amity Tracks. So I saw this is sort of I guess it's a thread. I've seen a couple people doing it. Hadn't been all over the place, but I saw Mazzy do it. Norman Maslov and a couple other people, and it's something that I've thought about a lot. So it's kind of interesting. I figured I'd do it. So these are 10, or I guess 11, actually more. I don't know. Some CDs that I really wish I could have on vinyl. Okay. Now, I'm not. I've never really been a format snob. I mean, vinyl is number one. Vinyl, I think, is the superior format. But I still have a ton of my CDs. I was buying CDs all through the '90s and the early 2000s, and I'll still buy a CD. Right now, they're a lot more affordable. So if someone's just asking a ridiculous price for a record, forget it, man. I'm okay on CD. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I prefer vinyl. That's kind of what we're about. But yeah, CD works too. I mean, for me, it's all about the music first, format, and all that second. That being said, I do love having stuff on vinyl, and there is a batch of CDs here I found that and I've kind of had this list for years, and it's always real exciting, like one of my great accomplishments in life when I find one in the wild and I can check it off my long time list, and I've made a whole nother video of these great things that I've been looking for forever and finally found. 'Cause, you guys know what I mean, the excitement of that. But I have a little stack here of CDs that I would love to find on vinyl. Now, these either are not available on vinyl, as far as I know, as far as my extensive, minutes long research, um, or they're so rare, or so hard to find, or so expensive that I'm not going to pay whatever's asking for. I don't, I'm not going to pay $100 or whatever for a record. I'm just not. So, if you're getting up there and higher, in my view, it's the same as not being available because I'm not just not going to do that. So these are all CDs, like I said, that either, as far as I know, aren't available on vinyl, or they're so expensive that they're just kind of priced out. And I'm not doing this in any. It's not a countdown particular order. I'm just going to be kind of showing them real quick. Now, we just did like 4 episodes on Neil Young, my Neil Young extravaganza. And I promised in the last episode that, we kind of lay off Neil for a while. But I lied, because one of these is a Neil album. So if you saw my countdown with Neil Young, you saw how high I had this particular record from the 2000s, from the last 20-something years. And I've not been able to find this on vinyl. And man, I want it. And it's Le Noise, right? Neil Young's Le Noise from, I think it was 2010, I believe. Yeah, 2010. And we just 4 episodes talking about Neil Young. I don't need to dive into this. This is the one he made with Daniel Lanois. It's real moody and great batch of songs, especially for the last 20 years or so. And got all kinds of Lanois treatments, and Neil's playing on electric guitar through most of it. And it's just really ethereal and moody and awesome. Love it. And my favorite Neil Young album of this century. Okay, so I would love to have this on vinyl. Okay, oops. As I tossed it aside, the CD fell out. Okay. These next two are frustrating because I'm a completist for artists that I really love. And so both of these next two are like the last studio album of each of these artists that I don't have on vinyl. and I just haven't been able to find them. I don't know if they're out there. So first, the Cars. I love the Cars. This was their reunion album, from 2011, Move Like This. I've kind of looked around, and this is actually hard to find on CD even nowadays, but I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, it really is great. Ben Orr is not on there because he was deceased by then, so that's a minus. But I think it was really, really good, and I would love to have this on vinyl. If I could find this on vinyl, I'd have the complete Cars discography on vinyl, but have not been able to find it. Another one, even more frustrating to me, is Peter Gabriel's New Blood. This is the only one I cannot find on vinyl of his studio releases. Now, this was, he did this Scratch My Back, I'll Scratch Yours project, where he just was going to play with an orchestra, but no, traditional rock instruments or anything like that. And that was he did the scratch. Well, it's on the shot. I forgot. I should have pulled it off to show you, but where he it's like a bunch of cover songs, and then he wanted those artists that he covered to cover one of his songs, and it's put out as a double album. And I don't know, when I do Peter Gabriel, we'll talk about that project. It was not totally successful, but he was kind of into that whole thing, and so he then decided to give that sort of vocal and orchestral treatment to his own material and do an album, doing his own stuff in that format, which I think is actually much more successful than the whole covers project was. He, for some reason, sort of willing to take more interesting risks with his own material, and it's just a little more exciting. I think this is good. I mean, it's not the highest echelon of Peter Gabriel stuff, but I think it's really good. It's frustrating because, again, I have every single thing on vinyl but this. And so, it just bothers me that I can't complete it. And I kind of like it too. All right. Here's one. I've been looking forever, and I don't know why this hadn't been put out. This is a comp. It's a compilation, The Cure Galore. And it's the perfect companion piece to this, of course, The Cure Standing on a Beach. So Standing on a Beach is a 5-star superlative collection of Cure singles from the beginning in the late 70s up to 1986 when this came out. And this picks up there and goes from 87 to like the mid 90s or so. And it is also just perfect. It's a fantastic comp of their singles. So these two kind of go together. And I don't know, it just really bothers me that I can't get this on vinyl because I'd love to have both of them on vinyl together. It just frustrates me. All right. This one I think I showed recently in some video, but Strength in Numbers, the Telluride Sessions. I do have Bela Fleck's autograph right here because I got him to sign this. That's what that is. But as I mentioned before in that recent video, this is sort of the super group of these. Well, at the time, because it came out in 1989. At the time, they were still kind of young and up and coming. Just amazing. Newgrass was the term at the time. But these guys that played on traditional bluegrass instruments, but they're really breaking the boundaries. I mean, they're doing jazz and progressive. It's like progressive bluegrass, all kinds of just really great stuff. And Bela Fleck there, Sam Bush on mandolin, Bela Fleck on banjo, Edgar Meyer on stand-up bass, and Jerry Douglas on dobro. He's incredible. And Mark O'Connor that was on acoustic guitar and some fiddle on here. And this opened the door to this whole genre for me, this one record. I would love to find this on vinyl, but have not been able to find it. Next, this is one I featured like a long time ago on one of our cult album videos, I believe. I haven't done that in a while. I need to do. People kind of like those, so maybe I'll put together another cult album video here soon. But Leo Kottke's Great Big Boy from 1991. And fantastic record. And if you know anything about Leo Kottke, incredible guitar player, virtuoso. This one's kind of quirky because this one features his vocals. A lot of his music is instrumental, but he'll do some vocal stuff too, or he sings and he kind of sings and kind of Lou Reedish, But actually, it's kind of good. And his lyrics he's really witty, so his lyrics are kind of funny. Anyway, this is, again, one of our cult videos, I featured this. Great record. And this with the acoustic guitars and the bass and all that. I mean, this would sound so good on a well done vinyl. I would love to have it. Now, this I discussed fairly recently. Robbie Robertson died, and I did my tribute video to Robbie Robertson, his second album, Storyville. Now, I have seen this on available. I've seen it. Where is? Oh, sorry, I was like thinking about something else. Um, I saw this. I don't know. It was like over $100 online. So I know there are vinyl copies of it out there. Like I told you, I'm just not going to be paying $100 for a record. I just don't do that. So I'll have the CD until maybe it gets reissued, or I can find something in the wild where it's not so expensive. But yeah, his debut and then this one, his second one, are just amazing. So great. Another one. Now this is another compilation. I this is one of those artists who sometimes you have to kind of I don't know be a closet fan of, or so maybe at least in circles of like serious music fans. But man, I really dig Eddie Money. I think Eddie Money, some great songs, great voice, great dude. By the way, this is the Sound of Money greatest hits. It's put out like '89 or so, and it's like perfect. Like to me, it makes kind of all the right choices. I have some Eddie Money on vinyl, some of his records, and they're all, in my view, spotty. I mean, he's one of those artists where his hits generally really are his best songs, and so if I could get this on vinyl, I'd be so happy. I've looked for this for years. I found it like online, so it does exist on vinyl, but again, $100 or more, and yeah, I kind of hoped, when he died a couple years ago, that maybe they would, reissue it, put it out on vinyl, when he died, but it didn't. Haven't seen it. Would love it. It's just, I don't know. His radio songs are just so great, and it's just great pop rock, man, of the '80s and late '70s, I guess. And like I said, this comp just to me kind of makes all the right choices, and it's just kind of perfect. So I wish I could have that on vinyl. Here's one. Came out. When was this? This was 2009. This is a great live album of Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood, and they did some shows in 2009. This is live from Madison Square Garden, and it's a double album, or at least double CD. I guess it'll probably be on more than two records, but I know this came out on DVD too. It actually would be cool to watch. I just think it's fantastic. I mean, I've always said about Eric Clapton, he needs somebody of comparable talent to push him, or he gets lazy, I think, as a musician. And with Winwood up there, Eric's kind of, feels like he has to play at the top of his game, and it's awesome. It's just a great, it's just a great show. They're both playing great. They're both singing great, especially when Winwood sounds fantastic. And what I like about it is it's a really interesting set list. They try to kind of dig deep into each other's catalog, and it's cool to hear them playing these songs together. There's some Traffic stuff on there. There's some Derek and the Dominoes stuff on there. What else? Yeah, when obviously they play a lot of Blind Faith stuff, which is the super group they were in briefly together. So they play a lot of the Blind Faith stuff. And then just some great solo songs from each of their catalogs. It's cool to hear them kind of doing that together. I remember reading a story about that's kind of cool when they were doing interviews about this when it came out, and they kind of gave each other. So like Winwood allowed Clapton to pick one song from Winwood's catalog. It was Clapton's choice, and they had to do it, and then vice versa. I just thought that was kind of cool. And they're on there. Winwood picked Forever Man, which I think is the best song from the '80s from Clapton. And I don't know, he doesn't revisit that all that much. And I thought it was cool that Winwood saw that and picked Forever Man. And then Clapton picked Split Decision from Winwood's Back in the High Life. It's kind of a cool idea. They each do kind of some solo, just solo, features, where it's just Clapton playing guitar alone, and then Winwood does something on an organ alone. And yeah, Can't Find My Way Home on here is fantastic. Anyway, I really like this, and I would love to have it on vinyl. All right, last ones are the last two artists here are. I'm going to show you kind of a little batch. Jeff Beck, as you probably know if you went back and watched my favorite guitarists video, he's one of my all-time favorite guitar players, and he made a series of, to me, just innovative, kick-ass, awesome comeback albums starting around 1999 into the early 2000s. It was kind of a trilogy, and I've never seen them on vinyl. It's Who Else and You Had It Coming and Jeff. So these three, I would kill to have all three of these on vinyl. They're so good. They don't sound like some old classic rock guy trying to hang on. They are modern, innovative, and Beck is at the top of his game playing guitar. Just amazing stuff. I love these records so much. I haven't done a full. I did a tribute when he passed away at the beginning of this year, but I've not done an actual video like going through. And I will. I plan on it, going through his albums and career and all that. And I will gush on that video over these three. I would love to have these on vinyl. And then finally is a band who I haven't seen any of their stuff on vinyl. They late 80s into the 90s into the 2000s, and they're kind of a smaller band. I guess some people may have heard of them, but they're not huge and nationally known, but they are amazing. And I should do a video on these guys. I highly recommend them. They're a band out of California called the Merman. And I've got, they have more than this, but these are the CDs that I grabbed. Krill slipping, great artwork too. I mean, imagine these on like full vinyl. It'd be so cool. Krill slipping, Food for Other Fish, Songs of the Cows, A Glorious Lethal Euphoria, The Amazing California Health and Happiness Roadshow. This is the one I think I actually featured this on one of my cult videos too. This one, and actually talked a lot about this one too. Really kind of did a double with these two. Yeah, the Merman. I would love to have this stuff on vinyl. Never seen it. So just real quick, they are a kind of a progressive surf band. So like their style kind of originally was in surf music, but they kind of like what I said with Strength in Numbers and bluegrass. They sort of take it to new levels, and it's like cinematic, and it's almost like progressive rock in some ways, but throwing these surf stuff in there, and just really interesting, complex compositions led by the guitar player by the name of Jim Thomas, who's amazing. And they're it's all instrumental, but it's just incredible stuff. I would love to have this stuff on vinyl. I mean, for the artwork alone, it's just such cool artwork. Anyway, there you go. There's my entry into this sort of mini thread. This was going around. By the time this plays, it'll be a few weeks ago, but I was in the midst of my Neil Young extravaganza, so I couldn't break that up. So here's where I'll put this, release this video. So you guys tell me in the comments. Let's talk. Is there anything out there that you've had a lot of real trouble finding on vinyl that you would love to have on vinyl? Let's talk about it. All right, guys, please do subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, like the videos, all that great stuff. We'll see you next time.